Welcome along to Betting Weekly Premier League show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, how are you? This is Australian Open time. You're up all night. What's the over and under hours per sleep per night here? What are we sellers at under 2.5? How's it going?
It's catnaps. Good morning to you both. Yeah, you just basically get up. I go to bed at about 12, watch the first set, see one of my tennis players go break down or break up, think, well, that's a good show. Go to bed for 2 hours. My mind's waking up, thinking about the tennis. Wake up, watch a bit of it for 3 hours, go back to sleep for another hour, and then watch again. And I'm watching another match now as I'm doing you. Got positions everywhere, so it's quite a stressful afternoon. But listen, it is what I love it. I love this tournament. I prefer it to be on our time zone, but I do enjoy it.
Jack, strong picks on the live show this week. Your Blackburn explainer went on for a little bit, but it was a winning selection. Likewise, Anthony Gordon, who's absolutely flying at the moment. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. Good day to you both. Good day to listeners and viewers alike. Yeah, I'll go a little. I cut a bit short on that Blackburn, so I have got some more notes here if you want me to go through it. Or no, shall we? No. Okay, but yeah, that was good. It was a good show, wasn't it? And also the newsletter, winner on the newsletter as well. I just need to pick a couple of those and put them into the official picks on here, but. We've had that conversation a few times before. So, yeah, a couple of rough beats I felt, but we dust ourselves off. We go again. Let's crack on.
Indeedy. Look, a reminder of the boys' profit and loss is on screen. I thought we were in profit last week, and I said, yeah, the boys are in profit for the show, and we weren't. we're just in the negative, so we need a strong showing from Jack and Nigel to try and push us back into profit here. Quick word on the title race. Nigel, Liverpool minus 400. I thought there might be a little bit more movement in midweek. Arsenal still plus 350 after a North London derby win. One or two of our viewers on YouTube and the live show are saying, should we have a bit of pizza money on Forest here at 33s or bigger? What's your take? Did you expect a little bit more movement with Arsenal having won last night?
No, I think $3 is a fair reflection of where they are. I mean, they've still got the game in hand, which is massive. So effectively, and they've got a much better goal difference. They've got to overturn. Still quite a bit of way to go at them. I wouldn't bet them. I think Newcastle would be the bet for me rather than Nottingham Forest at 33-1. We'll come on to them a little bit later on. I mean, they're the side that are really moving in the right direction. If you're looking for an outsider, you want someone to ruffle feathers, they're the team that I would be looking at.
Jack, price is about right at the minute. No real significant movement after the midweek games.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally. So I wouldn't be touching Arsenal at that price at this moment in time. Still not convinced there with everything that's going on. But and obviously, Liverpool are plenty warm enough favourites. So we'll see it unfold. But yeah, Nigel makes a great point. Yeah. Newcastle steaming.
Are we still generally Nigel? Just quickly, are we still generally saying Liverpool are gettable here?
I think they're gettable. Yeah. I've been saying that all season, and when they've been 9 points clear, 10 points clear, I've been saying it. I think they are gettable, and they're showing signs of wobbling, and they've got a tough match this weekend as well. So yeah, I think they're gettable. For the one person who wanted us to speed up today, I've gone on a lot about it. So hurry up, come on.
Tag us in at Because We Win. The Betting Weekly newsletter is available every Monday. Head to bettingweeklystudios.com. for details. We're going to kick off with Newcastle versus Bournemouth, which is Saturday morning stateside, 7:30 Eastern. It's just after midday locally. Newcastle minus 159 now. Bournemouth plus 390. I think we're going to hear two things from bettors here. Newcastle winning 9 on the spin. Put me off that price. I'm going to get lumpy with Newcastle. But on the flip of it, we've got Bournemouth unbeaten in 10. Should we play on the Asian line? With the cherries here, we've got Jack's 2-unit play to kick us off this week. Jack.
Yeah, it's just Newcastle for me over the last recent weeks, isn't it? And I'm going again on a -1 Asian handicap. I feel they win this, and I feel therefore it's a bit of a free swing at plus money. We're plus 102 on the Asian one handicap, of course, meaning that if Newcastle win, we can't lose that position. 2 or more is the key. And they've been doing that in recent weeks. We saw them last night. They got into that position against Wolves. Plenty of chances. Those forward players are sensational. What I love about him, he goes under the radar. We talked about like the key men, Isaac and Gordon and so on. But Tonali last night I thought was outstanding in the middle of the park. He kind of works around Guimaraes really, really well. I saw him in the last minute, like bursting his gut to try and get towards the Wolves box. Lost the ball, and he was then back on the centre circle, stopping Wolves. And that's at 3-0 up. And you can't put a price on players like that in that side as well. And think defensively, really strong. Hall, I think, is a real bonus for England, the fact that he's coming in and playing so well out on that left-hand side in what is potentially a problem area for us. So I think, across the board, some good saves from Dubravka as well, unfortunately, last night for me. But he did make a couple of really good saves as well. So it's all going well for them at home, absolutely flying. And the caveat, the argument will be that Bournemouth are doing exceptionally well as well. And I'm not underrating them. I just think they've had a really tough week. They've gone to Chelsea. Chelsea had the majority of the ball there. That's a tough place to go to and to get a positive result. They got a draw. Heartbreak really with that last minute free kick conceded to stop them winning that game. Then they've got to travel to Newcastle. We know are flying, and they're also stretched, really, really stretched as far as their numbers are concerned. Lacking in strikers, and they played that midfielder Watara. We mentioned him, didn't even have a shot. So they're relying heavily, really, on Kluivert, who started on the bench against Chelsea, and Antoine Semenyo as well. So the key thing for me is they also lost their right back in that game, injured, and they had to put a midfielder because of their numbers, covering him at right back. And he's obviously going to be up against Anthony Gordon, who is on fire, as we pointed out yesterday. So I think there's so much going for Newcastle here that I've got to take them on that -1 Asian handicap. Bournemouth's away games have been against the lesser lights in the league and also against the sides that do tend to concede lots of goals. So I think Newcastle can get this one done and dusted. And as we see, they can close games out with that tight defence. So -1 Asian handicap for me, Newcastle, plus money.
I said there's two sides to the coin. You either go Newcastle because they're flying or Bournemouth because they're flying. Can you make a case for the Cherries here, Nigel, or are you going to weigh in with Newcastle?
I'm glad Jack kept it brief. The match I watched was a 5-set. It's just finished during that. Anyway, Newcastle against Bournemouth. I'm exactly the same as Jack. I'm going for Newcastle -1. It was going to be one of my official plays. It would have been probably a 1U play. Maybe it was pushing up there to be a potential of a 2U play because there was a few I like this weekend. But it would have been, obviously, if you want to enhance your stake. But I totally agree with it. They're scoring goals, and that's the thing. You win football matches, score goals. Isaac obviously getting all the headlines. Gordon doing everything right. He's going to be a certainty to play for England under the new manager. Last 6 matches at St James's Park, they've scored at least 3 goals in every single one. And their last 11 matches, they've scored at least 2 home and away. That extra goal threat that they have over Bournemouth, who have been very, very good, very, 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 very well played, very, very well organised, very, very well, very hard to beat under Aurelio. But this is a side that are rampant at the moment, a crowd that expects them to win, and I think Newcastle will get off to a win. Isaac is -136, long gone to score at any time, long gone at the +110s when he appeared every week in one of our picks, and never scored for us. That's the incredible thing about it. He scored 10, he scored 11 in the last 10. But now, I think if you're looking at Isaac -136, you would expect Newcastle to score. Newcastle -1 was +102, but with that drift on the money line, it's probably bigger now. It's probably about +106. It was +102. So I'm going Newcastle -1, exactly the same as Jack. I think they'll win this match, and all you need to do is win not to lose this wager. So Newcastle -1.
That's just a lane from Nigel, incidentally. We have got Nigel's 1 unit playing the Leicester-Fulham clash, which is Saturday, 10 a.m. Leicester +285 here, Nigel. Fulham -112. Rui van Nistelrooy, I mean, it's going from bad to worse, 6 straight league defeats. They're usually an overs team, but they were in that defeat to Palace in midweek. Fulham may be a bit unlucky to lose to West Ham here. Leicester to bounce back. Fulham minus money away from home. What's your 1 unit?
1 unit is Fulham on the money line. They were -105 when I looked originally, so the money has started to come from them. I expect the money to continue. I think they're on a different level to Leicester in this moment in time. The bubble that come in, the big surge of the new manager, Van Nistelrooy, as you said, is burst. 6 losses in the last 6 matches, only 1 win in 7. That was against QPR in the FA Cup. How Fulham never got anything from that match against West Ham, I'll never know. I went for the draw. That should have been a draw at least. Fulham were excellent in that match. Couldn't convert the countless number of chances they had, and West Ham, I think they had 3 chances and 3 goals. So that would have been one for the XG bettors to lose their money on. But I mean, I'm hoping that Fulham will bounce back here. I expect them to bounce back here. They've been to Chelsea and won. They've been to Liverpool, got a draw. They've been to Tottenham and got a draw. They've been to Nottingham Forest and got a win. They were very, very unlucky not to get anything from the trip to Man City when Man City were playing a lot better than what they are now. They lost their unbeaten run of 9 in that match against West Ham in really, really unfortunate circumstances. I expect the manager Silva to get them fired up for this match. And against a Leicester side that they're gone. I think along with Southampton. I just think that Fulham here, at anything around even money, which they were, still around about even money, is too big a price on the money line. So Fulham for me, minus 112, did you say now? That'll still do for me. Fulham minus 112, 1 unit play on the money line to beat a very, very poor Leicester side who are just conceding goals and not scoring at the moment.
Jack, similar thoughts from you on this one?
Same bet. It's my strongest lean of the week. It was very close to being my 1 unit play as well for the same reasons. And I just feel there's categories you put teams in, and Leicester are one of those sides at the moment that I'd pretty much want to fade whoever they're playing. They're all over the place. So, can't agree more. A Fulham win on the money line for me.
Money line, just a lean for Jack, but it is Nigel's 1 unit play. Also, Saturday, 10 a.m, we've got a London derby featuring West Ham again, this time against Crystal Palace. West Ham a plus 155, Palace a plus 180. As we mentioned, West Ham fortunate to beat Fulham in midweek. 3 goals from 4 shots. Fewest shots for West Ham in a Premier League game this season, or joint fewest, along with 4 against Forest when they were beaten 3-0. Yet they are favourites here to beat Palace. We've got Jack's hot dog, so we'll tackle the hot dog of the official play first and foremost. Give us your big price bet for the weekend, Jack.
Yeah, I'm going with a player to score here. It's Lucas Paquetá. The odds are plus 340. I just think that's a really big price. It's not a knee-jerk reaction to the fact that he scored in both games under Graham Potter, but it's purely because of the fact he was playing as a false 9 because of the injury problems for West Ham in striking positions. Potter decided to utilise him in that area, so he'll be more advanced than he is normally. Obviously, did score one of the goals in that. 2 shots in that game, 3 shots against Villa in the FA Cup, so he is kind of putting most of the output for West Ham over those last couple of games. So he scored in both those games as well and should be on penalties also. And the main reason of thinking there could be a better performance from West Ham, although they won, we've talked about that, the fact that Crystal Palace did concede 21 shots against Leicester in midweek and some really big opportunities as well that Leicester aren't good enough to take. Someone like Paquetá has got the ability to take those. So I think if we're getting those kind of chances in those kind of areas against Palace, again, I think he is likely to take him at that price. He's been priced up as an attacking midfielder. His essence playing as a striker. So I think that's a bit of value in that price for me.
Nice one. Over half a shot, incidentally, plus 125 if you just want to play. That obviously it's not hot dog. Doesn't qualify for a hot dog, but it's a good analysis from Jack, as always. Look, I mean, Nigel, I mentioned the fact that West Ham are favourites. Should they be favourites here? I mean, they're not great at the minute. Bowen's missing still. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they deserve to be marginal favourites given their home advantage, but is home advantage an important factor anymore in the Premier League? That's the thing you've got to think about there. I'm going to this match, actually. I'm actually going to West Ham Palace on Saturday.
Away end?
A corporate end, my friend. We don't do away on home. We got to be at 12:30 for lunch. We don't do nothing like that, mate. This is Seeley you're talking to. He's not Sean Calvert. He's not Sean Calvert. This is Seeley. We don't play games.
Minus money to miss the second half, and he's not a massive price not to get inside.
We've got the kids. We've got the kids with us, so we've got to behave ourselves. So don't worry, we've got the kids with us. So anyway, when I say kids, they're worse than me. They're 20. So there you go. West Ham against Palace. I think goals. I really do. If you look at that West Ham game against that Fulham, it was an end-to-end match. Lots of goal scoring opportunities for the opposition side. West Ham give up lots of opportunities. And Palace were starting to do well. They started to score goals. I mean, the good win against Leicester, very professional win, 2-0 win. They didn't have the players that we thought might be missing, or I thought might be missing. But there was a flu bug around the place, and if they can play like that and get a win at Leicester, they've got to be respected here. Glasner is a good manager. He got off the season with so many players out of the club. He rebuilt the club, and they're a very, very different team now from where they were then. I think they're up to like 14th in the table now. They've got no problems of getting relegated at all. They are unbeaten in 5 matches. They've only lost once on the road in their last 8, and that was at Arsenal. So their road form has been very, very good. West Ham's last 4 matches, 18 goals. Lots and lots of goals in West Ham matches. And I'm surprised, actually, this goal line is as low as it is. I mean, the 2.5 goal line with over 2.5 goals, minus 125. We're talking about a season where goals are 3.5. West Ham games at home have been 3-2, 5-0, lots and lots of goals. And if you go back through history in this match, earlier in the season it was a 2-0. Last season it was a 2-0 win to West Ham, but it was the first time in 15 seasons that the match between West Ham and Palace never saw both teams to score at West Ham at the home fixture. No, it doesn't really mean much in relevance, and I'm not basing a bet on it, but it is a London derby, and obviously these two sides, they sort of score goals against each other. But if you compare the over 2.5 goal line to the both teams to score, it's a big difference. So both teams to score here is -175, and over 2.5 is -125. And I think if you are expecting goals, which I do, I think you've got to be playing over 2.5 rather than both teams to score. So that's my lean in this one. A feisty London derby, goals on the menu, but on my menu will be prawn cocktails, rump steak,
Thanks,
medium rare, and a
Thanks,
nice
Roy.
bit of cheesecake. Over 2.5, -125.
You'll be looking to get pie, mash and liquor, won't you, over there? Do they still do that? No, not anymore. All the fans live around there. Brentford, Liverpool, next for us, 10 a.m. Brentford plus 480, Liverpool minus 200. Brentford at a bigger price to beat Liverpool than they were City. That's sort of naturally given the order of things here. Liverpool have been good when minus money away from home, only failing to beat Forest last time out, Nigel, but only Forest of the 8 teams that they've played when they've been minus money away are currently in the top half of the table. We've got to take them on somehow, haven't we, Liverpool? If you're a bettor here, you've got to look for an angle, haven't you, with Liverpool?
I'll be taking them on for sure. We say the terminology in the American market, we say lay something. In England, it means totally opposite to what it does in America. So when you say we're going to lay something, in America, it means you're betting them. In England, it means the opposite, which means I'm going to take Liverpool on. I think -195 is a crazy price for Liverpool, given the way that they're playing at the moment. They're playing well. Don't get me wrong. They're playing well, but they're giving up a lot of chances and conceding a lot of goals. And I think it's a real strange season that no one fears Liverpool really. No, at Anfield they do, but on the road they think we have a go at them. And Man City, exactly, that Brentford didn't fear them. They went 2-0 up Man City, and what price were they to win it? -8,000 or something like that to win this match. And then Brentford came back because they never gave up. They knew they were vulnerable. They knew if they got the ball in the right areas, they'll get chances, and they did. And they kept them going. And they could have nicked it at the end. They could have won it. Brentford could have won this match. It was crazy. And we've seen from Man City this season conceding goals, and Liverpool have been conceding goals in recent weeks. And even when they were winning, they were conceding goals, coming through matches and winning sort of 3-2s and at Southampton, 3-3s against Newcastle. And I think this will be the way Thomas Frank sets his side up to go all out from the first whistle. I think they'll give Liverpool a right going over in the early doors here. And I think Liverpool will do well to contain them, especially in the first half. I was very tempted to put Brentford in at $5 as my hot dog. Really close, I thought. I know Jack did it last week with the Man City match, and he was extremely unlucky. He was unlucky there. And I thought, if they play like that, they'll give Liverpool a game. But I found a better hot dog. So my lean here would be Brentford +1 on the Asian handicap at -103. The Liverpool have got to win by more than 2 goals for you to lose money. I think that's a nice bet. That I want to get against Liverpool here. I've said all along that the transfer situations behind the scenes isn't helping them. And clearly, since that Trent Alexander issue has come to light, his performance hasn't been great, and Liverpool's performance haven't been great. 1-0 defeat against Tottenham, 2-2 against Manchester United, and 1-1 draw at Forest. They did win against Accrington, but who are they exactly?
We do that gagging midweek. Anyway.
No, we didn't. I watched the midweek show back, and I thought I should have done it. That's why I did it.
I thought we did. Jack, you are siding with Liverpool, but there is a little bit of a caveat here because you still think potentially they are vulnerable. These are both leans, incidentally, Jack.
Yeah, and we talk about our strong leans. This certainly isn't one. It wouldn't surprise me that Brentford go and do what they should have done to Manchester City here, but I have gone with Liverpool to win and both teams to score. Purely a little bit of gut shot in the fact that how much energy Brentford put into that performance against Manchester City. They've got to go again. And Liverpool are better than Manchester City. They have got better players and they've got more clinical strikers, but the likes of Salah. Salah not scoring, that's unheard of, isn't it? So he's going to be bound to get on the score sheet this time round. But yeah, I just think when you boost the price, I do think Liverpool will concede. I think Brentford will score how they play. And it's just a question of whether they can replicate exactly how much energy and effort they put into that game against City. But when you put both teams to score with a Liverpool win, it boosts that price to +133. And it just made it worth a thought for me, a lean. As I say, certainly not my strongest one. But should be a cracking game to watch, though. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it should be decent. Both teams score, yes. Liverpool to win, plus 133 is Jack's lean. Nigel likes Brentford, +1, shade minus money. Arsenal versus Aston Villa is the 12:30 game on Saturday, Eastern time. Arsenal are short again, -205. Villa +575. I thought, Nigel, that Arsenal was sort of workmanlike. They had to dig deep, but they did come from behind to win the North London derby. Villa have found a little bit of form after a dip, but they've got a big Champions League game coming up there, taking on Monaco. I mean, Arsenal have got Zagreb at home, which you think that they will probably win. I mean, they're both in the top 8 of the Champions League, so they're in that top echelon, and they are going to avoid the playoffs as it stands at the moment. I mean, what do we think here? Is this one to get too excited about? I mean, Arsenal, I think, will win, but are very short. What's your take?
Yeah, last season Villa were 12-1 going. I don't like to talk about it, but I remember someone. What? I don't know what you were saying. Sorry?
Yeah, but you didn't pull that as a hot dog. You went something like you apps.
I think I went safe and bet.
You
Villa
went plus 1.5 or something, didn't you? In the end?
It's interesting. We didn't have hot dogs last year, did we? I'm interested if it was this year.
No.
You might well have actually pulled the trigger on that, mightn't it?
It would have made me end the season in profit if I did. Anyway, Villa was. We made a big case of Villa. Well, we made a big face of Villa last season to beat Arsenal at a very big price, which they did. This time around, I'm not so sure. I mean, you say Arsenal have got to be workmanlike. That's what they've got to do because they haven't got the players. They haven't got their flair players, so they've got to be workmanlike. And that's why I worry about them in the title race, because I don't think they can keep doing that week in and week out. They're going to have blips. I think the big factor here is that Champions League match. I do think that's going to be a big help for Arsenal here. But -205 Arsenal. I mean, would you bet Arsenal at -205? I wouldn't bet it. But not saying that, Villa at +550 when you consider they were double figure prices last season, when they were better last season, a lot better than what they are last season. I wouldn't bet that either. Villa have a pretty good record at Arsenal. They've caused some problems in the past.
We should have a little dinger in the corner every time Nigel mentions Villa's win at Emirates last season. It'd be up to about 6 so far. Sorry, go on, Nigel.
Listen. Not every day do you bet double figure. You got to remind yourself. I wake up every morning. I see the missus. Oh, by the way, do you want to have breakfast? Yes, I bet Everton. I bet Aston Villa to beat Arsenal at 12. Do you know that? See the postman. The postman brings his letters in. All right, mate, Mr. Yes. Did you watch Penny Week? I'll let everybody know. Anyway, going back to the game at hand, I think Arsenal will just about edge it, but -205, no value whatsoever. But you won't believe what I've done. I've become a little bit, a bit adventurous. I've just fiddled about with the Bet Rivers website, and I've gone Arsenal to win and under 3.5 goals in the match, +106. No, it could be +166. I can't read my writing. But let me have a look. But anyway, I've become a little bit adventurous and gone that way. What do you think about that, Dan? You wouldn't expect me to do that.
Do you know what? Listen,
it's +104 now. It was +106. Sorry.
Listen. You nailed the same game parlay with the Arsenal game in midweek.
Up to me hours to nail.
So let's not poo Nigel's selection of Arsenal to win and under 3.5. I think it's a fair play. Jack, on this one, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think Arsenal were a bit fortunate last night. Really, when you look at it, the corner that shouldn't have really been, then it resulted in an own goal. Shot for the second one going through the keeper's hands, should have saved it really. But ultimately, over the course of the game, you'd say they probably deserved it. But so the way the goals come about was a bit fortunate. Havertz completely lost his confidence. So I think it's going to be a tough grind for them. But they are very, very good defensively, aren't they? Before last night, they kept 5 straight clean sheets at home in the league. And Villa are pretty poor away from home. They got that winner against Everton that ended a really bad run for them. They'd lost 5 straight away league games prior to that. They failed to score in 3 of the last 5, and that's the angle I'm taking. I'm going for effectively an Arsenal clean sheet here, regardless of the result. So under 0.5 Villa goals, and that's +115.
Everton versus Spurs is our first Sunday fixture to look at, 9 a.m. Everton +180, Spurs +138. Jackie's on same game parlay duty here. Before we get the SGP, let's just speak to the king of the same game parlays, Nigel, on this one first. Moyes' second
Pressure's
coming didn't quite go to plan, Nigel, did it? Really, they say never go back. I mean, they're plus 275 to be relegated. They've still got to play 4 of the top 5 away. Could they go down?
They could go down, but I don't think they will go down. There is now only a few teams I think can possibly go down. You know, you've got the 3 promoted sides, you've got Wolves, you've got Everton, and that's probably it, really. There's a sort of a gap now pulling away the sides. Everton have only got 3 wins this season, and only Southampton in the Premier League have had fewer wins than Everton. So that's the big problem. They've drawn a lot of games. At the Goodison Park this season, 20 goals home supporters have seen in 10 matches. But we always sort of look at Tottenham and think Tottenham are a high-scoring side and entertaining and all these kind of things. At home, they're the entertainers in the Premier League. They're only behind Brentford as the place with the most goals in the Premier League. But on the road, on goals scored or goal matches featured, if you look at the home and away, they're 15th in the league table on their road matches. You know, their matches on the road don't get many goals. There's 14 teams scoring more goals on the road than Tottenham. So I think that's been overlooked a little bit here. Everyone expects goals in them. So with Moyes, and we spoke about it. I don't know if it was on the Betting Live weekly live on this show here. Someone said, when you got 2 sides that totally contrast the styles, one attacking minded and one defensive minded. I always try to go towards the defence minded side. It was Everton Villa in midweek that cashed under 2.5 goals. Moyes didn't change anything. There was no difference at all. The personnel he's got are struggling for putting the ball in the back of net, and Tottenham are very different away from the Tottenham Stadium. They are at the Tottenham Stadium. So I'm going to go for under 2.5 goals. Last 5 years, this match has been a draw. Under 2.5 goals is plus 125. And you have to go back 11 matches to 2012, the last time that Everton beat Tottenham. Tottenham at Goodison Park. Tottenham have got a very, very good record. So in almost 13 years, Everton haven't won this fixture. So under 2.5 goals, a long, long history of a performance for them. And that's going to go for under 2.5 goals.
Jack, you're on same game parlay duty. As we trailed, you've been nailing Everton with your unders plays, and you both teams to score no. I presume that is part of your same game parlay. Just 2 elements in it, but a decent price. And off the back of your man here nailing it in midweek, the pressure's on.
Absolutely, the pressure's on. Yeah, I don't know if I can live up to it, but I'm going to try my very, very best. You know what I mean?
Many have tried before, failed. Many.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years for me now. But like I say, it's I'm always a little bit disappointed, Nigel, when you go through like a historical stat and go, and the last time this happened was in 2000 and whenever. And then you don't follow up by saying, and the number 1 that year
I was waiting for the
Well, it's funny
one.
you say that because I knew that one of you were going to say it was Flo Rida with good feeling.
I was going to tell you that.
Flo Rida with good feeling was number 1 in 2012 in December the 6th when the last time. And that's up there, mate. Flo Rida. Yeah. Love it. One of my favourite songs.
Absolutely right. Nice. Good.
Right, 2 elements of the same game parlay, Jack.
Yeah. Everton are very low scorers, as we know. So another Flo Rida one there for you. But what I would say is this first element was going to be my lean was going to be a pick for this. I was absolutely shocked to see both teams to score no at this price. I couldn't understand. It's mainly been, focused totally on Spurs. And as Nigel's pointed out, it's more the fact that their general home form and earlier season form that's been based around. They've kind of disregarded Everton and what we've known from them over the last season now. So that's the first element. Both teams to score no sets it up. Everton have only conceded 4 goals at home in their last 7 home games. 7 the goals that they're not scoring is absolutely ridiculous. They just can't find the back of the net at all. And I think Spurs are just really disjointed. We've talked about it, that they couldn't score against Tamworth. The goal they scored against Arsenal last night was a set piece deflection from the corner. So that really stood out to me as a huge price. And I've just thrown in our old favourite as well, the Tottenham corners in this one. I think it's a game where they're going to look to attack Everton, and Everton are going to sit in deep. We know what we're going to get from them. So over 5.5 Tottenham corners, and they boost that price to plus 310, which I think is a big price considering that centred mainly around the fact that both teams to score no is a huge price in its own right, and would have been my lean here and nearly an official play if I went on same game parlay duty for it. So Ange under big pressure, and he's now looking in all kinds of. He looks a shell of a man at the moment, questioning everything that's going on. So they're not in a good place right now.
Plus 310 for the same game parlay. Both teams to score no. over 5.5 total corners by Tottenham. Sunday also 9. Forest against Southampton, minus 265. Forest here. Forest, Nigel, were hanging on a little bit here against Liverpool in midweek. Matt Sales with some brilliant saves. I just wonder how much energy they exerted, but they are short price favourites to win this one. It's only the third time Nigel they've been minus money to win this season. 1-1, drawn 1. And it's the shortest price they've been all season. Are we lumping on Forest, or is there just going to be one of these quirky results against Southampton here that comes from nowhere? You've got your hot dog. Jack's got a 1 unit play. Let's get the hot dog first and your thoughts on this one, Nigel.
I think you would probably be looking to fade Forest with the energy they used if they were playing any other side in the Premier League, apart from clearly the worst team in the division by some way, and one of the worst teams we've ever seen in the division in Southampton on this data. Minus 265 is a very, very short price for Nottingham Forest bettors. I think you're better off to bet them in some kind of correct score or some kind of prop. I think this is going to be quite cagey, quite low scoring. I expect Forest to probably win it 1 or 2-0, something like that. 7 wins and 1 draw in their last 8 matches. The draw against the top team, and now they play the bottom team. A little bit of pressure on them to win this now, the pressure that they would never have been expected. I was going to go with the bet that I think Jack's going to go for here, but I'm not going to steal Jack's thunder on the bet. Let him tell it. But I think it's a really good bet, and that was very close to being on my list as well. But I've gone for a hot dog here, and I've gone for Chris Wood to score the first goal at plus 350. I mean, I think that's a massive price. He scored the first goal against the top team in the country, and now he's plus 350 to score the first goal against the worst team in the country. I went through his record this season. He scored 14 goals in the Premier League, which is an exceptional return for... 13 goals in the Premier League, which is an exceptional return for the New Zealand international. But the staggering thing, in 13 of his matches, he scored the first goal in 9. 9 games this season, he scored the first goal in 21 matches. And at home, at the City Ground, they played 10 games in the Premier League, and Chris Wood has scored the first goal in 6 of them. And now he's up against the worst team with the worst defence in the Premier League. I think he's full of confidence. The way he took his goal against Liverpool was a striker in confidence. Ball through. No, didn't think about it. First shot, left foot, goal. That's a confident striker. And with Southampton failing to score in 5 or 6, I think this will be a narrow Forest win. I think they'll keep their momentum going. And I expect Chris Wood, who's been a very, very popular player. I mean, the on-site bookmakers at the City Ground must be absolutely doing their brains, because he's scoring the first goal every week. And to get plus 350 about him with those statistics as well, it's a 60% chance this season in home matches that Chris Wood has scored the first goal, and you're getting 22.2% on this bet. So Chris Wood to score the first goal at plus 350, Nottingham Forest against Southampton, is my hot dog.
I will guarantee that if you go to the City Ground and play with the on-match bookmakers, it'd be about a quarter of that price. Yeah. Because we've all worked for bookmakers and we all know what they do when it comes to grounds. Jack, what is your 1 unit play on this one?
Yeah, siding with Forest. They just keep going, don't they? Just keep impressing, and going to take them to win, but win to 0. So again, go via the same game parlay, and that's Forest win, and then either both teams to score no or under 0.5 Southampton goals. Comes in at minus 103 is my 1 unit play. As we said, 7 wins before that Liverpool draw, 5 clean sheets though as well before that Liverpool goal scored against them. So really, really good. Southampton, we know, are absolutely terrible. 5 of the last 6 in the Premier League, they've failed to score. Now, they do play tonight after we've recorded this on a Thursday. So we don't quite know what's going to happen there, but whatever happens, really, it's not really going to change my mind on this particular bet. And that also plays another part, is that Forest are going to have 2 extra days of recovery time over Southampton before they play this as well. And they're at home. Southampton 2 away games, real tough for them, and so they are abysmal. So Forest can take advantage of that and keep themselves well in the conversation as far as certainly Champions League place is concerned, maybe even the title race.
Minus 103, Forest to win to 0. Nigel, you said that you like this. Is that one you're going to bet this weekend as well?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah. 9 wins to 0 in the Premier League this season. I think that's the highest in the Premier League for them as well. And that they've only won 12 matches, Forest, and 9 of them they've won to 0. So yeah, I love that bet. And with Southampton failing to score in 5 or 6, I just think it's a tall order of them score. So yeah, love that play.
Match sales plus 185 for Golden Gloves, incidentally, with Bet Rivers. He's got 9 clean sheets. David Raya plus 150. Jordan Pickford at plus 450. Forest have only got to go away to Newcastle in the top 6 between now and the end of the season. I don't know if he's worth a punt. The Golden Gloves betters. Huge amount of Golden Gloves betters, Nigel.
We got enough to do with that, talking about Golden Gloves. I mean, come off. We've got same game parlays. Under 2.5 times 6 corners times one bloke to have a shot, one bloke to pick his nose, one bloke to scratch his bum. Golden
very quickly.
It's the one thing I've got to pack today, my Golden Gloves, funnily enough.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going after the show. Is it sort of the Oneida? Is it the North Sea? Have you got? Are you on the rigs later? He's on the rigs. He's on the rigs later on. Oil be seeing you. Anyway, United Brighton very quickly on this because both play tonight. We're recording Thursday morning. United are minus money. Probably going to fade him anyway. Nigel, very quick thoughts on this one. Sunday 9 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, minus 105, Man United, would you be tempted to take that price? I think it's very, very difficult to take a bet on this match without knowing how Man United performed tonight. But 6 draws in the last 8 going into this evening for Brighton. And the draw here is the biggest price of all 3 outcomes at plus 280. So my lean would be for the draw here. I wouldn't really trust either side the way they're playing at the moment. And I think both managers would be quite content with a draw.
Yeah, United play Southampton, Brighton are at Ipswich tonight. Just quickly on this one, Jack.
Exactly the same bet. Exactly the same reasoning. Next.
He's made up. He's made up. I'm staggered. I'm flabbergasted.
If Jack and Nigel, after today's game, really fancy something differently, they have promised me, ladies and gentlemen, that they will put it in the YouTube comments. So if there's any sort of angles in, I'm sure Jack will be looking at props. I don't know who's on the live show tomorrow, but the boys will put some picks in there if anything changes. Ipswich versus Manchester City is the main game on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. on Sunday Eastern Time. Ipswich are plus 800, City are minus 305 here. We talked about Ipswich hosting Brighton tonight. I don't think it's going to affect the price too much, but we'll see. Look, Nigel's 2U playing this. And again, look, we've talked about City an awful lot over the last few months. Nigel, Jack, and I know Lewis in particular on the live show have been against them for a long time. They continue to show failings, Nigel, don't they? You know, whenever they play, you know, they were trading 102 on the exchanges against Brentford and they didn't win. Again, we've got to fade City. So how do we fade City? What do we do with this one?
Well, I mean...
2U for you here,
this
by the way.
Is a 2U. And the reason why is I just think the price on Man City at minus 305 is wrong. I mean, I wouldn't bet Man City at this current version at minus 305 against anybody. I've been really impressed with Ipswich at the start of this year. I think they're going to stay up. I think the manager's a good manager. And I've said it week in and week out the last few, since we've done these shows, that I wanted to get with them. I was so unlucky with when I wanted to bet them on the money line at Fulham at 5-1. They drew 2-2. Should have won that. Beat Chelsea easily at home. And now they play a City side that were hanging on against Brentford. And the body language from Pep Guardiola at the end, when he was running up the players and shouting, and it was just like a madman. It's something's not right. And they've had a couple of big wins against West Ham at home, I know, and a massive win in the FA Cup. But that is just paper in the cracks over what is a serious problem, and it still hasn't rectified itself. Every time the ball goes into the box, they look all over the place. Defensively, they're fragile. The only positive for them is that Harden's got a couple of goals back, and big positive for them is that Phil Foden got 2 goals in midweek. But there's just something not right. And Ipswich just look a very well organised side, very well managed, and at home I think they're a threat for anyone. The other big point here is that Man City play Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday.
Massive. And
I've been going on about this match for ages, and defeat in that match for Manchester City, then they have a real there's a real chance they don't qualify for the knockout stages of the Champions League, which is unheard of. The tournament favourites, the best team in Europe, that would have been, you're talking about shocks of the season. For them not to get into the 24 out of some of that rubbish that's in that Champions League would have been, is staggering. In Liam Delap, who Man City let go, I think they've got a proper striker. You think about Delap and you think about Cole Palmer leaving him and Alvarez that have left Man City. Those players, what they would have done this year to this Man City side. And Pep, for the first time, is being questioned about his decisions, his managerial decisions, his transfer policy. Everything's being questioned about him. I think Delap, he's at 8 goals. Everything I see from this guy He's a proper centre forward. He's a real good player. I think he could be a shot called up for the England squad. I think he's that good. I think he's going to be a proper player. And I was again, I will be betting Ipswich on the money line here at 8-1. I will be. I'll have a small bet on it, but I think my 2-unit play is Ipswich plus 1.5 on the Asian handicap against Man City. So we're only losing if this Man City side win by more than 2 goals. I can't remember the last time they won by more than 2 goals on the road. I know they've beaten teams at home, but on the road, I can't remember the last time they've beaten or won many games on the road. They were so lucky to escape. There's problems. They were 2-0 up and then they give it away. And 1.5 Ipswich, and the price is minus 109. So I'm getting a 1.5 goal start with Ipswich here against a very flaky Manchester City. Crazy, really, when you think about it, because if someone said to me that would be a 2U play 3 months ago, I would have said you were completely mad. And Man City probably would have been starting this match at probably around about minus 750. They're minus 305, and I still don't think it's moved enough. I think it should be closer to minus $2.
Jack, how are you taking on City? What's your play here? This is just a lean.
Yeah, well, at the start of the season, we identified really first cracks was the fact they were conceding goals, wasn't it? And we were able to get on both teams to score. Then that ship sailed, the trawler possibly sailed, and now we're got to add a little bit more into it. But over 2.5 goals, both teams to score. Yes, for this one, I think Ipswich will cause City problems. We saw it for City against Brentford. It was terrible. They could have conceded 5 or 6 in that game, to be fair. But I think the shining lights for City on that occasion against Brentford was De Bruyne. Some of the balls he was putting into the box were exceptional. Haaland still looks like he's misfiring, but also Savinho I thought was a real eye catcher as far as their forward process is concerned. As Nigel said, Foden scoring 2 as well. So they've got threat forward, but defensively look an absolute shambles still. Over 2.5 goals, both teams score, yes. Minus 112 is my lean.
Just one thing, Dan, before we go. I know we pushed for time, but just one quick thing. I did say the last time that Man City won by 2 goals on the road, it was against Leicester. It was only recently they won 2-0. But prior to that, their last 10 matches, road matches, they've lost 7, drawn 2 and won 1. They've only won once, and it was a 2-0 win. 7 losses, 2 draws, and I think Ipswich are a lot tougher proposition at the moment than Leicester.
Delap incidentally plus 360 to score any time, plus 850 to score first. Monday Night Football to wrap things up. Chelsea against Wolves, 3 p.m. Eastern. Chelsea minus 286. They were minus $3 even shorter not so long ago. Wolves are 7-1 here. Chelsea without a win in 5, Jack, in the Premier League after that 2-2 game against Bournemouth. But Wolves have lost the last 2. Admittedly to the informed teams, Forest and Newcastle, they've run into them to a bad time for them. Chelsea, I don't think they've been completely reliable when they've been minus money here, but they're big minus money are Wolves. What's the angle? Do we back Chelsea to bounce back? Do we go -1 Chelsea, or are we backing Wolves? How are we playing it?
Yeah, I've gone on the under goal line here. The goal line set at 3.5, and I thought that's a really high line, and it's minus 127, so it's a lean. But I think that's well worth taking on. And I say as far as the money lines and the Asian handicaps are concerned, I couldn't really be getting involved with those at the moment for the reasons you've kind of outlined already in the intro to it. But goals wise, only 2 of Chelsea's 10 home games this season have gone over 3.5 goals. The most recent one, 2-2, but there was a penalty in that for Bournemouth, and then a added on time free kick right at the death for Chelsea. So that kind of things that don't tend to happen in every single game. So from open play, it wasn't the case. Watch that Wolves game. Yes, they should have scored against Newcastle, but so wasteful in forward areas. And Strand Larsen is just a player that just seems to miss those gilt-edged chances. So we talked about XG before and the likes of Brighton. Yes, you create chances. You might look good in the data side of things, but if you haven't got someone who can score goals, they're relying on Cunha for that, and he missed a couple of chances as well. You're going to be struggling. So I think given those 2 3-0 defeats as well, they will look to keep it a lot tighter. They're playing with 3 centre-backs, but there's a lot of gaps in the middle there. One new lad's come in who looks like he loves to tackle, so see how he gets on. But yeah, just for me, they're under 3.5 goals seems a high enough line to be able to take on at a decent price.
Nigel, what's your thoughts? Chelsea Wolves. I mean, we've talked about taking on a lot of the short price favourites on this weekend slate. We taking Chelsea on as well or not?
I think Chelsea will win this match. Not for Chelsea playing any great football, but I think that Wolves they give up too many goals for me. It's the last match preview, but the first disagreement we have on the show. Over 3.5 goals for me at plus 104. That was my bet.
We knew that'd be that way round.
And again, who
going
would have
over
thought,
3.5 goals?
Who would have thought that 3 months ago? What's going on in the world? Anyway, it's just incredible. Anyway, Chelsea left it late in a 2-2 draw. Reece James scored that free kick right at the end there. But talking about I did the data with 2.5, but the last 13 matches for Chelsea at home, 11 of them have gone over 2.5. Only 2 have gone under 2.5. The last 11 Wolves matches, over 10 of them have gone over 2.5, and the reverse fixture was 6-2 earlier in the season. So it was 4-2 last season as well, but that was to Wolves. They won this fixture 4-2. So I just think goals. I just think Chelsea have got that stage of the season where they're just, I don't think they can win the title. They know they can't win the title, but they've got a bit of a race to get into. They've got a competition now with Newcastle and Nottingham Forest to get in that top 4, and I think they may go for it in a goal scoring threat. The manager, for the first time this season, under a little bit of pressure. I saw a couple of videos yesterday from last night from Chelsea supporters having to go at the manager for the first time this season after a bad run. But I think they might open themselves up a little bit. So I'm disagreeing with Jack here. Over 3.5 plus 104 would be my lean.
Good stuff.
It's interesting. Maresca had the same thing at Leicester last season. That he started really well and then had a wobble, and their fans turned against him. And this is a massive moment for Wolves because this is the reverse fixtures from the start of the season when Gary O'Neill had that horrific run where they were playing all the top sides. So now they've got the same fixtures coming up. So that could well see them sucked right into that bottom 3.
Minus 155 Chelsea top 4 incidentally. Forest plus 225 Newcastle. Even money. City minus 177. That's an interesting little
Be all over Newcastle at that price.
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
I'll have it in a double with sells for the Golden Gloves.
There you go, Golden Gloves. Loves it. Nigel, Nigel, what content-wise we got coming up? Australian Open. What's coming up?
Oh, loads.
Australian Open.
You
got another one with Sean later? What's the
No, back on Sunday with Sean. We got an extra one on Monday on the women's tour with Roy Jawani. Betting Weekly Live. There's tennis betting content on it every day from myself. Sean is on tomorrow actually with RJ. Betting Weekly Live.
With me.
11 o'clock Eastern time, 4 p.m. UK. And just the usual stuff. The Dojo, me, myself, and Neil Channing. The latest edition is out as well. Figures are brilliant. Lots of people subscribing. Our record week for number of views. Record week for subscribers. So starting off 2025, great. If you haven't subscribed or you haven't hit the like button or give us a comment, the comments on this show, that's the big thing here. That's the thing that pleases most. All the comments that come in, everyone has sharing their bets, giving their opinions, and letting us know what they think. That's what we like the most, and we'll give you our thoughts as well. There's a couple of people there. I've got their CVs for Jack for next season. They're looking quite good. Well, and me as well. And me.
Great stuff. Jack, where are we dropping Anchor later?
At the Anchor. Yeah, it'd be nice for a little lunch and a couple of beers.
We wish everybody well this weekend on the Premier League. Good luck. And as Nigel says, let us know what you're betting in the YouTube comments. Thanks to Nigel and to Jack. We'll keep everyone updated via our X feeds. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Premier League show. We're going to be back next week. Picks, plays, hot dogs, same game parlays. 11 a.m, of course, for that live show every midweek day. Follow us at Because We Win. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for today, though. That is your lot. Good luck. Goodbye.